Welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Mr. Herb's class. Mr. Herb's class, this edition is from the crib, 5-minute math from the crib. But today, we're talking about solving linear equations. Now, linear equations means two things. It means one letter, no exponents. Now, that letter could be X, it could be Y, it could be T, it could be S, but you're only going to see one letter in your equation. And our job is going to be to isolate that letter to see if we can find the number or numbers that make our equation true. So I'm going to break this down in 3 steps. These 3 steps look like this. Bang, okay. And here are the 3 steps. We're going to simplify, we're going to separate, and we're going to solve. Now, simplify means this. Oh yeah, distribute and combine like terms. And you'll know exactly what that means when we start to see the problems. But we're going to simplify first. Any equation we're going to solve, we got to simplify that equation first. We're going to distribute and combine like terms if there are any. Next thing we got to do, separate. And that means, bang, separate. It means exactly what it says. We're going to put our letters or our variables on one side of the equal sign, and we're going to keep our constants or our numbers on the other side. So letters, even if those letters have numbers attached to them, letters are going to be on one side, and numbers without letters are going to be on the other side of the equal sign. And then finally, we're going to solve. And solve means, finally, we're going to solve. And solving means we're going to isolate the variable in question, thereby coming up with a solution or a number that makes our equation true. All right. Most math is learned by doing it, man. So let's get to it. Let me throw an equation up here and see if we can't solve it. Here is our first basic example. Now, what we are trying to do here is we are trying to isolate this letter X to see if we can come up with a number that makes this equation true. Now, what number could I put in for X to make this equation true? Could I put a 0, 2 times 0 plus 4, is that equal to 10? No. Could I put a 1, 2 times 1 plus 4, is that equal to 10? No. Now I could go through a million different possibilities. I could try a million different numbers. However, it'll probably be easier if we just solve this equation for X. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to simplify, separate, and solve this equation to get that X alone. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is simplify. We need to distribute if there are any parentheses around and combine like terms on either side of the equal sign. Now, a lot of our operations are going to take place on either side of this equal sign. We'll get more into that in a second. However, do I have any like terms to combine over here? No like terms to combine over here. We're good. Now we need to start to separate. We need to take our X's and make sure they're on one side of the equal sign or one side of this wall, and take our numbers and make sure they're all on the other side of the wall. So right now, I have X's over here on the left, but I also have a number without an X over here on the left, and I need to get rid of that number. So think PEMDAS. There's an order. We have to undo the things on this side that are attached and around this X. So to undo those things, we have to undo them in a certain order. Now, think PEMDAS in reverse. When you're solving, we need to undo the addition and subtraction things first. Think of taking your shoes off before you take your socks off. When you think about it, that's the order you have to do them in, right? You have to take your shoes off before you take your socks off. So this 2 that's attached to the X, we're going to save that for last. The things that are closest to X are going to wait for last. So I need to undo or get rid of this positive 4. Now, to undo that positive 4 or to get rid of it, I can do the opposite operation. So to undo something on an equation, you need to do the opposite operation. That 4 is being added. To undo addition, we subtract. Now, there are properties in math, there are rules, there are laws, and these laws govern equality. And what that means is whatever I do on this side of the equal sign, I have to do on the other side of the equal sign also. So if I'm going to subtract 4 over here to undo this positive 4, I also have to subtract 4 on that side also as well. Good job. Okay, so that changes our equation a little bit. So let's see what that does. Now this positive 4 and this negative 4, they go away because 4 minus 4 is 0. So now those are gone from that side of the equation. And what I have left over there is just the 2x. Exactly right. Now on this side, I can do that 10 minus 4. That's a subtraction problem that I could do pretty easily. What is 10 minus 4? 6. Absolutely. Okay, very nice. We're almost We're almost there. Just this close from getting that x alone. What's stopping x from being alone now? That 2 that's attached to it. Now, what's that operation going on between that 2 and that x? Isn't that multiplication? What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. That's exactly right. So to undo or to take that 2 off of that x so it will be alone, I divide, which we show by a fraction line, by 2. Now don't forget, the laws of equality say if I divide this side by 2, I have to also divide this side by 2. So let's do it. Okay. Now what happens to these two 2's over here? That's exactly right. They cancel. And what does that leave us on that side? Just x. That's exactly right. Now this 6 divided by 2, that's a simple division problem that we can do. What is 6 divided by 2? Oh yeah, that's exactly right. So what we found is the solution, or in other words, the number that makes this equation true. And we could test that out. Let's test it out real quick. What if we took this 3 and plugged it in for x? Let's see what that looks like. Okay, back to our original equation. Now we did find out that x equals 3. Let's see if that actually works. So I went ahead and replaced that x with the number 3. And does it work? What is 2 times 3? Oh yeah. And what is 6 plus 4? Oh yeah. So in essence, 3 is our solution. X equals 3 because that number makes this equation true. Bang. Let's kick it up a notch.